welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. What's that, an Agatha Christie t-shirt? Yes indeed, because today, the 1st of August, is the first of a month that I have dubbed Augusta Christie. So I'm going to be reading this month, in August, in the year of 2023, books by, inspired by, retellings of, about Agatha Christie. Something I've been looking forward to quite a lot. I try to do these sort of reading projects once a year. I've done things like June Air before, and Pride and Prejudice, and Little Women. Every time I say that, I can't believe it. But this month, Augusta Christie. I mean, could that fit in any better? I don't think so. So I'm going to show you here the books that I have planned to read in the month. I've got actual books by Agatha Christie. I've got a book about Agatha Christie. I've got some books which are clearly retellings or inspired by, and then some which are a bit more sort of loosely inspired by. And then I've got some audiobooks and stuff, and radio plays and things, and a puzzle to show you. So here we go, beginning of Augusta Christie TBR. So I'll start with the two Agatha Christie books that I have here with me. I've still got some reservations coming in from the library, so I'll still be reading some more Agatha Christie and audiobooks of Agatha Christie books. But the first one is And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I've actually read this before and very much enjoyed it. I've read it twice before, and I remember reading it, and this was the first Agatha Christie book I ever read, and I remember being really elated by the fact that I really understood everything that was going on in here, and I thought it was so clever. And what I really liked is how it was literally so wrapped up in the end. Something I really dislike a lot in books, I'm finding as I get older I'm disliking it more, is stuff being left and did that really happen and what's to happen? Like, I really enjoy a good wrapping up, and this gives an absolute good wrapping up. Set on an island, 10 people go there, all seemingly for a holiday. They're not quite sure how they know one another and stuff like that, and gradually people on this island get murdered. Very sort of, we'll see this a lot in lots of films and TV and books and stuff like that. But yeah, I really enjoyed reading this. And then we've got, so that's a standalone, because Agatha Christie has a lot of sort of books that have, like, so Hercule Poirot, for example, Miss Marple, Tommy and Tuppence, that's another series, but this was a standalone, as is this one, which is Crooked House. And this is what we're reading for Patreon Book Club this month. These were the two choices, and this was the one that won, because I wanted to pick a standalone. This is about the Leonides family. They're one big happy family living in a sprawling, ramshackle mansion. That is until the head of the household, Aristide Leonidi, imagine, is murdered with a fatal barbiturate injection. Suspicion naturally falls on the old man's young widow, 50 years his junior, but the murderer has reckoned without the tenacity of Charles Hayward, fiancé of the late millionaire's granddaughter. And there's a little note from Agatha Christie at the beginning of this saying that this is one of her favourites that she's written. This book is one of my very own special favourites, and she talks about how she sort of like thought about it and then sort of gathered the stuff. Could she do it? She needs to have some time to be able to write this, and so I'm very excited to read that. So those are the two actual Agatha Christie books I have here in my hands. There will be some audiobooks as well, and like I said, more coming in at the library. Then I've also got this by Lucy Worsley, which is a non-fiction book about Agatha Christie, A Very Elusive Woman. I got this for my birthday last year, and this was sort of like me thinking, I'm definitely going to do Augusta Christie after this arrived. So yeah, Lucy Worsley, I've seen a lot of her stuff. She does like a Victorian Christmas series. I enjoy that very much. And she's done a lot of work on the Six Tudor Queens, and I've seen quite a lot of her stuff, and I find her as a historian very interesting. Here she is in the back. You might well recognise her. She appears on a few television programmes and stuff. Her best-selling books she's written are books about Queen Victoria, Jane Austen at Home, A Very British Murder, If Walls Could Talk, An Intimate History of the Home, Suffragettes with Lucy Worsley, won a BAFTA, and she also hosts the Lady Killers podcast for BBC Sound. Well, I need to get myself onto that podcast. But yeah, so this is all about Agatha Christie's life. And I'm very much looking forward to it. So I know nothing of Agatha Christie's life, so apart from the fact that she was a writer, so hopefully after I've read this I will be well aware of her life. So I think this is one that I'm going to dip in and out of as the month goes by. It's very heavy hardback, but really looking forward to reading that. Really looking forward to it. And then I've got a lot of books here that are sort of inspired by and retellings of. First of all, we've got, oh goodness me, Marple. This is 12 Miss Marple stories retold by different female authors, some of which I'm very aware of and very excited to read. So we've got Naomi Alderman, very much into her, Natalie Haynes, Val McDermid, Ruth Ware and Kate Moss. So really, really, Alyssa Cole, she's one that I've written a lot by. Lucy Foley, I've read a lot of books by her as well. So yeah, it sounds as though they've got a great host of writers to do this, and I'm really looking forward to it. This came out a few years ago, and somebody kindly bought this for me for my, 2022 it came out in. The Second Murder at the Vicarage by Val McDermid, The Unravelling by Natalie Haynes, Miss Marple's Christmas by Ruth Ware. God, that sounds exciting, doesn't it? Christmas in August, yes please. The Mystery of the Acid Soil by Kate Moss, The Disappearance by Lee Bardugo. I think it sounds like it's going to be great, so very much looking forward to that as well. And then I've got, because a lot of Agatha Christie books and the ideas sort of owned by the estate of her have now been sort of sourced out to other people. So this is a brand new Poirot mystery written by Sophie Hannah. I've read a few books by Sophie Hannah. I think I've read, although those are just Agatha Christie books. I don't know if they've got Sophie Hannah's books listed in here. Poor old Sophie Hannah. No, they haven't. They've just got a massive of, I mean, look how many books she wrote. That's amazing, isn't it? So yeah, this is a new Hercule Poirot story written by someone who isn't Agatha Christie, which I think is great, because hopefully I'll be becoming quite familiar with these books and seeing how these sort of hold up. And then I've got Murder at Malawan Hall, a Phillida Bright mystery. So Malawan Hall is Agatha Christie's home. This again is fiction, and this is about, so it says here, tucked away, this is the first in a series, tucked away among Devon's rolling green hills, Malawan Hall combines the best of English tradition with the modern conveniences of 1930. Housekeeper Phillida Bright, she's the one who's investigating this, manages the large household with an iron fist in her very elegant glove. The manor is home to archaeologist Max Mallowan and his famous wife Agatha Christie. Phillida is both loyal to and protective of the crime writer, who is as much a friend as employer. An aficionado of detective fiction, Phillida has yet to find a gentleman in her life half as fascinating as Mrs. Agatha's Belgian hero Hercule Poirot. But though accustomed to murder and its methods as frequent topics of conversation, Phillida is unprepared for the sight of a very real, very dead body on the library floor. There we go. Then we've got A Talent for Murder, and this is a book about, so this is a fiction book about Agatha Christie. So this is about Agatha Christie, although I got these books in, so these are in the large print books that are available in my library, but for some reason they're so heavy. I don't know if it's to do with the paper that they're printed on. Agatha Christie, in London to visit her literary agent, boards a train preoccupied and flustered in the knowledge that her husband Archie is having an affair. She feels a light touch on her back, then a sense of someone pulling her to safety from the rush of an incoming train. So begins a terrifying sequence of events. Her rescuer is no guardian angel, he's a blackmailer of the most insidious and manipulative kind. Agatha must use every ounce of her cleverness and resourcefulness to thwart an adversary determined to exploit her genius for murder to kill on his behalf. There we go, another one. Then we've got a YA book, which is quite exciting, called The Agathas. This is by Kathleen Glasgow and Liz Lawson. And this is about Agatha Christie obsessed Alice Ogilvy needs to... so after falling from grace last summer, Agatha Christie obsessed Alice Ogilvy needs to stay out of trouble, while smart and reclusive Iris Adams just wants to get the hell out of Castle Cove. But now they have a murder to solve. There are clues the police are ignoring, a list of suspects a mile long, and some very dangerous cliffs. Amateur detectives Alice and Iris are about to uncover just how many secrets their sleepy seaside town is hiding. That sounds great for summer as well, doesn't it? And then we've got, there's a whole host of these, and I may well watch some of this. This is Agatha Raisin and the Quiche of Death. Now, when I hauled this, someone said, oh, is that a play on the word kiss of death? And I hadn't even picked that up, but I imagine that's what it is. So Agatha Raisin is an invention of MC Beaton, and very much inspired by Agatha Christie, as you can imagine. But yeah, there's a whole series of these, and I think maybe a radio series as well, which I'm going to try and investigate too. So Agatha's bacon is to die for. High-flying public relations supremo, Agatha Raisin has decided to take early retirement. She's off to make a new life in a picture-perfect Cotswold village. To make friends, she enters the local quiche-making competition. By the way, I really, really like quiche. And to make sure of the first prize, she secretly pays a visit to a London deli. Alas, the competition judge succumbs after tasting her perfect quiche, and Agatha is revealed as a cheat and a potential poisoner. Definitely not the best start, so Agatha must turn to amateur sleuth. She's absolutely got to track down the real killer. Sounds very twee, sounds like I could potentially be quite into it. Is it going to be too twee? Who knows, but we will find out. So those are the obviously Agatha Christie inspired books. And then I've got a couple here. So this is Anthony Horowitz' Magpie Murders. My colleague was reading this and she said, oh, you should really definitely try and read that. And then there was a copy for 50p from the charity desk, so I got this. It's about crime writer Alan Conway, and I said this, same initials as Agatha Christie, and she was a crime writer. Has been best-selling author for years. Readers love his detective Atticus Pund, a celebrated solver of crimes in the sleepy English villages of the 1950s. But Conway's latest tale of murder at Pye Hall is not quite what it seems. Yes, there are dead bodies and a host of intriguing suspects, but hidden in the pages of the manuscript lies another story. A tale written between the very words on the page, telling of real-life jealousy, greed, ruthless ambition and murder. And this is told partly through like an actual book, like as in like the book that's written in here, and then there's lots of different font is what I'm saying. So I don't quite know how it works, but I think first of all we're reading the book. This smells like fags because I bought it secondhand. And then you go into more maybe explanation about that. Then I've got this, The Three Dahlias by Katie Watson. So this is at a weekend convention where three rival actresses team up to solve a murder at the stately home of Lettice Davenport, an author whose sleuthing creation of the 1930s, Dahlia Lively, had made each of them famous to a new generation. In attendance at Aldermere, the VIP fan staying at the house, the fan club president turned convention organiser, the team behind the newest movie adaptation of Davenport's books, the Davenport family themselves, and three actresses famous for portraying Dahlia Lively throughout the decades. National treasure Rosalind King from the original movies, and she's feeling sensitive that she's past her prime. TV Dahlia for 13 years, Cairo Hooper, who believes she really is Dahlia Lively, and ex-child star Posey Starling, fresh out of the famed wilderness and rehab to take on the Dahlia mantle for the new movie, but feeling outclassed by her predecessors. Each actress has her own interpretation of the character and her own secrets to hide, but this English summer weekend they will have to put aside their differences as the crimes at Aldermere turn anything but cosy. There we go, so that sounds inspired by. Then I've just got one more book to show you before I move on to my audiobooks. So I've also got, because I do this thing every month, I'm so excited about all of this. I feel like I'm really gonna have a really big page turning month. I feel like, I know there's a lot of books here, but I just feel like I will probably get through them because they're all, I'm gonna wanna know what's happening, aren't I? Yeah, and then as I said, I do a video every month where I battle my books against each other in order to pick a book to go on my TBR for next month. It's all about getting books off my shelves and getting them read. But the book that won for this month is The House Opposite by Barbara Noble. So this sort of maybe fell in a little bit because there are aspects of this that I guess could be related back to mystery stories and Agatha Christie's writing. So this is about Elizabeth Simpson, who's secretly having an affair with her married boss. Her father is an air raid warden and her terrified mother takes her courage from concealed bottles of rum. Owen Cathcart, their neurotic teenage neighbour, slips out during night raids to watch the fireworks and to collect souvenirs of shrapnel. And Bob Craven, a soldier Elizabeth uses as a cover for her illicit romance, plans his taxi rides to see the most dramatic bomb damage. In this riveting drama of life during the Blitz, the extraordinary immediacy and vivid intimate detail stem directly from the first-hand experiences of Barbara Noble, who lived and worked in London throughout the war. The result is a unique social document and an unforgettable reading experience. Our edition includes a new introduction by Connie Willis. So here we go. So yeah, not related to Agatha Christie, but something about that, it feels a bit cosy, and maybe like some of these books feel a bit cosy as well. Let's have a look at what audiobooks I've got and what reservations I've got on. So here we go. I already have, ready and waiting to go, How to Kill Your Family by Bella Mackie, which is murdery. I've got, so although I've shown you The Crooked House, I've got the audiobook of The Crooked House, plus a radio play, because I'd quite like to listen to a few radio plays, and because this is for my Patreon book club, I'd like to get it ingrained in there. So I won't be reading this and listening to the audiobook, unless I do both, like, read them together, but I definitely will be listening to the audio play, to the radio play, which is 2 hours. Then I've got a book called How to Disappear by Gillian McAllister, which my colleague has also just read and says is very sort of twisty-turny mystery, so sounds similar. And then I've got The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, which is a Poirot book. That's a book that I'm going to be reading, buddy reading with my father-in-law, because we like to do that. We've been doing that. We've done, this will be the 4th book that we've done this year. So yeah, there we go. Those are the books that I have. Have I got The Murder of Roger Ackroyd? I thought I definitely did. Oh, that's a radio play of The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, so I need to get the actual... I'll listen to that as well. So yeah, and then as I said, there's more things coming in at the library all the time, but I've also got this puzzle, The World of Agatha Christie, and jigsaw puzzles with 90 clues to spot. So here is Agatha Christie in her writing room, and then there's lots of different like clues throughout. So I think as I become more familiar with the books that I'm going to be reading, then these clues will make more sense to me. But this is definitely something that I'm going to be doing throughout the month, and listening to my audiobooks or radio plays whilst doing it. So there we go. The last thing I will mention is that this t-shirt that I'm wearing, I should have said this at the beginning because I bet there's loads of people who have said, where'd you get your t-shirt from? And then I'm going to answer this at the end. I got it from a website which I will link down below called Girls on Tops Tea, which is in conjunction with the Women's Prize for Fiction. They make lots of lovely t-shirts with amazing women on the top, and this one is Agatha Christie. I also want the Greta Gerwig one. They've made a pink Greta Gerwig one, but it completely sold out, but I will definitely be getting my hands on this. And I will be wearing this throughout the month. I'm also going to be doing a few reading vlogs. I've bought myself a few second-hand outfits, Agatha Christie inspired, so I'm going to be doing that. David and I are going to be watching some Agatha Christie telly, and some movies that maybe follow an Agatha Christie type storyline. Let me know if you've watched any Agatha Christie TV that you think is really worth a go. The ABC Murders is one that we think we're going to start with. But like I said, I also want to have a little look at Agatha Raisin. And yeah, I think it's going to be a really, really, really fun month. But would love to hear from you if you've got any favourites that you feel like I've missed out here, retellings of, or if there's an Agatha Christie book that you think is an absolute must read, do also let me know. I've read Murder on the Orient Express and The Body in the Library. But there we go, Agatha Christie. Hopefully you'll be joining in, and I'll see you all again soon for another Richard video. Goodbye!